Hey everyone, this is Summer Danae, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a washcloth in half double crochet. You might have seen my earlier video about the beginner steps on how to hold your yarn, do a slip knot, chain, and make a half double crochet into a chain and into a regular stitch. So if you haven't checked that out and you want some beginner steps, go ahead and do that now. And then this kind of picks up where we left off, but I will go over some of the basics. So I'm going to use blue yarn this time. This looks really pretty in the video. It's a little bit more faded to the in front of me, behind, or not behind the camera. But anyway, it's really pretty on camera, and I'm going to use it. So this says that I should use an H hook. I like to do that or go up a size. My favorite hook is this clover right here. It's not going to focus, but that's okay. This is an I. It's 5.5 millimeters. Really not going to focus. Fine, be that way. It's a little pricey, but I like it. I use it for almost everything. So you can use an H or an I if you like. And I would recommend going up a hook size if you're a tight crocheter. And then I've got some stitch markers, some scissors, and a yarn needle. We are going to be making a crochet washcloth. Okay, so here's what my finished product looks like. Of course, in a different color. You can kind of see that there's some holes on the edges. It might be easier if I don't have my hand behind it. So you can kind of see the light. On the ends, you can kind of see some holes. That's because we count this chain 2 as a stitch. I really like the half double crochet for scarves, hats, washcloths, just about anything, because the stitches are kind of tall, so it goes a long way, but there's not a ton of holes. I mean, you can see little holes, of course, but a double or a treble crochet is a lot taller, and there's a lot more space in between the stitches. So I really like the half double, so that's what we're going to be doing. And this is about 8.5 or 9 inches by 9 inches, and you can make it as tall as you want to. I'm going to make this one 30 stitches wide, but we will get to all of that in a moment. So another way to show you why I like the half double. So the gray at the bottom is my chain, my foundation chain, and you can kind of see how it looks like a nice little braid. It looks like the top does. I like that for uniformity. It's really pretty, which is why I work into the ridge of the chain. And the ridge for me is easy to work into. There's just one little stitch that you have to find. So this blue down here is what a single crochet looks like. It's the shortest of all the crochet stitches. There's also a slip stitch, but that's for another day. Then this ivory is the half double. So you can see it's taller. Then the gray is the double. And then the blue is the treble or triple. So you can see how there's a lot more space in between because that space is taller. Again, I like the half double because you get a good amount of height, not a ton of space in between, and it doesn't take very long to do. These take longer to do because you have to wrap more yarn and do more steps, which makes sense because you get taller stitches. So again, that's kind of what a half double looks like compared to everything else. Let's get started. So I like to pull from the middle. It just keeps my yarn from wandering all over the place. So this part is called your tail. And I'm going to get about 6 inches or so of tail, and I'm going to wrap it around my finger like this to make a slip knot. I'm going to go under this and over this and pull him through. Come on. And then tighten it a little bit. Okay, so you've got tail down here, working yarn over here, and then I've got my slip knot. I like to wrap my yarn like this. It's how I was taught. It's what I've gotten used to. I like using my index finger to control how tight this is. It makes it a lot easier to work with. You're going to want your slip knot to be kind of like this, where there's some space enough to work in. If you work too tightly, it's going to be impossible to work into a little bit later. So I recommend working as loose, on the loose side. Of course, not so loose that it looks goofy, but on the loose side. So we are going to chain 31 loosely, okay? So to chain, you yarn over from back to front. And again, I like to turn my hook like this so he goes through easier. If you leave it like this, he can kind of get caught. So I like to turn it like this, pull through, and you've made your first chain. So this is the chain. The loop on your hook doesn't count. We're going to do it again. Yarn over, pull through. So we've got 2. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and you're going to keep going. I'm going to go kind of fast so you don't get bored. And already I have lost count, so I'm going to count how many I've got. Again, you don't count the knot and you don't count the loop on your chain or the loop on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 10 and I'm going to do up to 31. So 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Okay. So, get the whole thing in the picture. So I'm going to count again to see if I have 31. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 31. Woohoo! Now, sometimes I get really lazy, especially if I'm making a project like a blanket or something pretty big. I just don't count. If it tells me I need 250 stitches, I'll do like something that feels like 256 or 250, whatever. I'll keep count, but if I lose count, I'll just do a few extra and keep going. Because you can always pull out the extra chains that you didn't use. But if you get to the end of your row and you don't have enough chains, that's kind of a bummer. So it's better to have too many than too few. But if you're someone who likes exact count, go you. So we've got our 31 chains. We are going to half double into the 3rd chain from the hook. With a half double crochet, you need to skip those 2. And we are going to count that as a turning chain. We'll get to that in a moment, but with a half double, when you're working into the foundation, you work into the 3rd one from the hook. So I like, again, to work in the ridge, which is on the back. So to count, we've got, this little guy is a ridge, 1, 2, 3. So this is our 3rd chain from the hook. I'm going to half double into that guy. So to do a half double, yarn over, you're going to go into underneath that little ridge, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you've made 1 half double and you've got these 2 little chains as your turning chain. Like I said in the other video, I like to take a stitch marker. Yeah, they come in colors. And mark my first half double. That way it tells me kind of where I am and what I'm doing. Because sometimes things can look like other things and I want to make sure I know where I'm at. So let's do that again. We're going to go into this little ridge stitch now. Yarn over, go under the stitch, yarn over, come back out. We've got 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through all 3. Do it again. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so here you've got 5 half doubles, and then you've got your little chain 2 on the end, which we will do things with later. Okay, keep going. Yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all three. Now you do this all the way to the end. I'm not going to bore you with all of that, so I'm going to press pause, and you can press pause and get yours done, and I will see you in a moment. Okay, I've got 2 stitches left, so let's do those together. Yarn over, go under the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. So we should have 29 half doubles and a chain 2. So let's count. Whenever I take my hook out, I always make this loop really big. That way it doesn't get accidentally pulled out, because that would be sad. So let's lay this guy out, take a look at him. So it might kind of look like a sad face. That doesn't necessarily mean that this was too tight, although it might. But if it straightens out pretty well, I think you're looking pretty good. So I should have 29 half doubles, and this should be the 29th, and then my chain 2. So I'm going to count. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then my chain 2. Woohoo! So we're counting that chain 2 as a stitch. Your pattern will specify whether or not the chain, the turning chain counts as a stitch. In my pattern, I'm saying yes, it does count as a stitch. So that's why this is considered 30 across, even though it's only 29 half doubles and a chain 2. So now let's go to row 2. So we need to get some height to start our next row. So in order to get our height in half doubles, it's 2 chains. So we're going to chain 2. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. I like to turn my work away from me because it makes the chain look a certain way whenever I come back to work into it. That's just a personal preference. Some people turn before they chain, some people turn the other direction. It's just a matter of what you like or whatever mood you're in. I do recommend that you're consistent, but you'll figure your own way out and enjoy whatever you do. So because this chain 2 is going to count as a stitch, we are going to skip this first half double because this whole situation counts as 1. So we're going to skip this and we're going to half double in the second chain, or in the second stitch from the hook. So you can see this little bitty hole right here. That's where we're going. The stitch looks like a braid. We're going to go under both of those loops in the V. So for a half double, you yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so now you've got a half double and you're turning chain 2. I'm going to use my other stitch marker to mark that first half double so I can show you something in a moment. You don't have to do that, but you'll see why whenever I come back. So now we get to half double all the way to the end. So we'll do a few together. Yarn over, go in the stitch, come back out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, go through all 3. Okay, I'm going to press pause. You can pause as well, and I will see you in a moment. Okay, so we've done all these, and now I've got 2 more half doubles to work into. So I'm going to yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. So I have a half double and a chain. Let me tell you that this is the most common mistake made in crochet, where people drop stitches, or you leave one out, or you forget about one. And so it'll cause you to get, you're going to decrease. It's going to get smaller and smaller, so it might look like a triangle. I'm going to take this stitch marker out to show you. This is a half double. and this is the chain 2. If this hole gets kind of big, you might be convinced that that's just a chain and you have one more stitch to go. And you really do have 2 stitches. You're going to put one in the half double and one in the chain. So let's yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Again, you might think this looks flush, that it looks really straight, and you're finished. You're not, because we said that we would count this as a stitch, so we have to go into him. We have to crochet into that. You can crochet into the ridge, which is back here, and he's kind of hard to see. Let's just go ahead and crochet into the top. So what you do is you leave that one piece of yarn on bottom, and then you'll have 2 on top. I'll show you what I mean. We're going to go in here. Nope. In the chain. So there's 2 pieces of yarn here that's really blurry. 2 pieces of yarn here and 1 on bottom in the chain. You just kind of dive straight into it in that very first of the 2 chains. Okay, good. All right, so half double, yarn over, go in the chain, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so he's kind of round right now, and that doesn't look like a perfect corner, but that's okay. You can either block it later, which is a way of kind of stretching it and shaping it to where it looks like you intended it to look, because sometimes cotton yarn looks kind of silly. Or you can straighten it by putting a border around it, and it would make the corner look a lot more angular. I'm going to leave it because he's fine. So now I'm going to chain 2, again for our height. 1, 2. I'm going to turn it away from me because that's what I like to do. And we are not going to go in this first stitch. We're going to go in the second one. That is another way that people commonly goof up and add or subtract stitches, is you don't go in the first one because this whole thing counts as 1 stitch. And we're going to half double into that second stitch. Yarn over, go in the stitch, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. There we go. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. So again, I'm going to pause so you don't get bored, and you can continue to work on yours, and I will be back. Okay, so I've got 2 half doubles left in the row and my turning chain. The reason why I turn away from me is because right now it looks like a braid, and I really like that. But that's just me. So I'm going to take this stitch marker out, and I'm going to do half doubles into each of these. Yarn over, go in, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Now the reason why I marked it, I wanted to show you. So this is a half double, and that's your chain 2. But if something silly happens and it gets kind of stretched, that kind of just looks like a chain, and you might be tempted to only have 1 stitch left. That's not true. We've got 2 left. We've got this half double and the chain. Yarn over, go in the half double, yarn over, come out, yarn over, pull through all 3. Because this kind of might look straight, and you might be tempted not to crochet into the chain. You need to crochet into that chain, because again, we said chains count as stitches. So yarn over, go in. You can see my 2 little yarns on top and 1 on the bottom. Yarn over, come back, yarn over, pull through all 3. Okay, so now we've got this situation. Now, if I've done something wrong, we will not have the right number of stitches, but we should have 30 across, which will be 29 half doubles and a turning chain. So I'm going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 29, 30. Woohoo! You can also think of these as little towers. There's a total of 30 towers. So for the longest time, you might have to count your stitches every row to make sure that you've got 30, because it is so easy to add and subtract stitches without even realizing it. So that might just be something that you have to do. And if you notice that your work is starting to turn into a triangle, count your stitches, and it is most likely that you maybe worked into the first stitch or didn't work into the chain or something like that. I'm going to show you how to finish off your work. You are going to keep going and I did about 25 rows for my other washcloth. So you basically just repeat that row until it's the right height that you want it to be. If you want it to be short or extra tall or whatever, that's your choice. I did about 25 rows. If you ever wanted to use this pattern to make a scarf, you could just keep going until it is 6 feet long. And then your scarf is this wide and 6 feet long. It's pretty cool. So we're going to finish off, and I'm going to need about a 6-inch tail. So I've got this big old mess. I'll make it smaller. And I'm going to cut him to be about 6 inches. And then I'm going to pull this stitch out. I'm going to pull. Rather, I'm not going to pull the stitch out. I'm going to pull the yarn through. So I pulled him all the way through. And now I'm going to get my yarn needle. I like this one because metal slides really well, and this bend makes weaving in tails really easy. So I'm going to put my yarn in the needle, and I'm going to go underneath these stitches. So I'll start here. I'm just going to kind of go behind these 2 loops where the rows join. And I'm going to go for 1 inch or so. And then I'm going to change directions. So I'm going to pull this through. You can kind of shape it how you want. And then I'm going to go up and back. The more directions that you choose or that you go in, the less likely your tail is going to come out. It's probably not going to totally unravel if your tail ever comes out after you wash it or use your washcloth for a while, but going in multiple directions really helps. If one of your tails happens to poke through, you can just snip it with scissors. Again, the whole thing's not going to come undone. Ta-da! So I'm going to snip this. Very exciting. And that's trash. And then you're going to do the same thing with your tail from the beginning with your slip knot. You're going to put it on your needle, and you're going to weave your end through in a couple of different directions and then snip the end. So that is how you make a washcloth. I hope you enjoy it as much as I love my handmade washcloths. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.